Hey guys, it's Mike with Lifetime of Magic, and welcome back to another episode. So, as a Disney and Universal vacation planner, I get asked by my clients a ton when they're going to Walt Disney World as far as what is the best time of the year to go visit the parks, which parks should they go visit, what's the best resort. So, I am going to talk about the top questions that I get asked every single day when I book my clients' magical vacations to the most magical place on earth. Let's get started. So the first question that my client asks when they're looking to book their magical vacation is really what time of year should they be looking at, right? So where can they get the best prices? Where can they avoid the crowds? And a lot of that really depends on, what times that you're able to travel. So for example, if you could only take shorter vacations, just maybe it's based off a budget, maybe it's someone's work schedule, I take that into consideration. Or if you can take longer stays, maybe there's a different time of year that you would look to visit. But typically I try to point out the benefits of traveling really anytime in September to early October. And then again in the first 2 weeks of December. So the reason why I point out these time frames, one is when it comes to September and October, you're getting that Halloween theme experience at every one of the parks. You also can expect a lower crowd volume at each of the parks, better opportunity at the resorts to get your preferred option, whether it's the actual resort or the room view. So a lot of things like that are taken into consideration. Plus the pricing when you go in September, early October tends to be a little bit better than if you were going in, let's say, the summertime. So I like to point out September, October, and then the first 2 weeks of December. The first 2 weeks of December, we've experienced lower wait times on rides, lesser crowds at the parks. The theming for the holidays is 100% at all the parks and all the resorts. If you would have went, let's say, in early November, maybe you miss out on some of the theming at the resorts or the parks as they're still getting everything up and ready to go for the holidays. So my recommendation would be early September to early October, and then again the first 2 weeks of December. So if you're looking to travel to Walt Disney World, those would be the recommended times that I would tell my clients. What resorts should you stay at? This is a very difficult question to answer. And when I walk through the vacation with my clients, I take a lot of this into consideration, whether it's the family size, it's the budget, it's how many days they're intending to stay there. A lot of that goes into it. But really, if I give a recommendation to my clients, I give one value recommendation, one moderate, and then one deluxe. So if they're going to Walt Disney World, anytime during the year, I would price out the value resort, and the value resort I would price out is typically Art of Animation. Now, I do this because I feel like the theming at Art of Animation is perfect for any family. The fact that they have family suites, whether it's the Nemo, Cars, or Lion King suites that sleep up to a family of 6, I think is perfect. And those suites also have 2 full bathrooms. So I think that that's a home run. Plus, in my opinion, I feel like the dining option that they have at Art of Animation is great for families. So that would typically be my value recommendation. And the biggest perk about Art of Animation is that it is on the Skyliner line. So just another added benefit to that actual resort. When you go to the moderate, I would actually price out Port Orleans Riverside. And the reason why I do this is, one, because I feel like there's a lot of kind of blend in this resort. So the lobby itself, to me, feels like it's Grand Floridian, right? It has a grand lobby when you walk in. It's got these high ceilings, the decor. It's just very soothing as you walk into it. When we look at the dining hall for the dining option at Riverside, that to me reminds me of Wilderness Lodge, another one of my favorite resorts. So now you have Grand Floridian feel as you walk into the lobby, at least in my opinion, and then a Wilderness Lodge feel as you grab one of the quick service meals at Port Orleans Riverside. So I like Port Orleans for those reasons. I feel like the grounds and the theming of the rooms, especially if you go into like the Tiana themed rooms, I feel like that adds a little extra to Riverside. So that to me would be my moderate resort recommendation. Now, when it comes to deluxe, this gets a little tricky, right? So you have the monorail lines, you have Contemporary, Grand Floridian, and Polynesian. All of them are spectacular resorts. Again, this is my opinion. So I prefer on the monorail line Grand Floridian. I just love the overall theming of it. The fact that they're refurbing all the rooms more like a Mary Poppins feel. To me, if you're gonna stay on the monorail line, I would definitely go Grand Floridian. But my overall recommendation on the deluxe side would be the Boardwalk. Now, we have stayed at Boardwalk multiple times. I love the overall theming. They're refurbing the rooms there. But for me, the Boardwalk not only provides deluxe value, deluxe amenities, but it does have that boardwalk. You're a 5-minute, 7-minute walk to Epcot. You can take the Skyliner to Hollywood Studios. You could take one of the water taxis over to Epcot or to Hollywood Studios. You're within walking distance to Hollywood as well. So there is a lot of benefits that go into Boardwalk. It's a little bit, in the times that we have gone, a little bit less crowded than, let's say, Beach and Yacht Club, which tends to have more crowds because of the pool, because of beaches and cream. So I would recommend Boardwalk. So if you're looking at value, Art of Animation, if you're looking at moderate, Port Orleans Riverside, and if you're looking at deluxe, I would highly recommend the Boardwalk.
I can't do nothing with you.
Dining reservations. Probably the hardest question that I get asked is, what should we do for dining reservations? Where should we eat? What do you recommend? This is a question that is extremely difficult to answer because everybody's palate's different. Everybody's, time of waking up is different. Some people are early risers. Other people like to sleep in and get to the parks whenever they want. So this is a very, very difficult question to answer. But if I was to give any one of my clients recommendations, this is typically how I would break it down. I would recommend your character dining experiences typically would be more so for breakfast. You start the day off on the right foot. If you have little kids, they're going to be super excited to see the characters right from the get-go. And then from there, that typically shapes the day up to be a little bit happier, at least early on, right? Because we all know Disney can be very stressful, but at least you're setting yourself up with a day of positivity. That's how I would look at it. And if we're looking at dining recommendations for character experiences for breakfast, my 2 recommendations, again, these are my recommendations. These are not right or wrong. This is what I recommend, would be Garden Grill at Epcot. It is a character experience where you get to meet Mickey, Pluto, Chip and Dale in a more intimate setting, right? Because there's not as many tables at Garden Grill, so you will see the characters more often than you would typical at any other dining experience. The other recommendation I would really give to my clients is going to be Ohana at the Poly. Now, if you're able to get this, because this is a very difficult reservation to obtain, but my thought behind this is that if you're going to Magickingdom, that would be the day you would go to. You get to see Mickey, Pluto, Lilo, and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch are very rare characters within Walt Disney World. So you get to see rare characters. You get to overlook Seven Seas Lagoon, the views of Magickingdom, and then you take the monorail right to Magickingdom from there. So those would typically be my 2 recommendations for character experiences, typically for breakfast. Now, for lunches, I recommend really quick service because you're at the parks, depending on what you're doing, what rides you're going on. I try not to recommend table services for lunch because you are going to be at that table service for 1 to 2 hours. Now, there are obviously situations here if you're going in the summertime and the heat is, extremely warm in Florida. This may be an opportunity to switch your character experience for the breakfast into an afternoon experience for a table service, so that way you do get away from heat. So So a lot of it also, when I do recommendations, is based off the time of year that you're going. But typically I would recommend a quick service option for lunch. And then for dinner, this would be more of a table service option. Again, if you wanted to do that, otherwise you can do another quick service option. So typically the way I recommend to my clients is really table service early in the morning, followed by then quick service, and then the option for quick service or table service. So that's how I recommend it. You have great dining experiences. Space 220 would be a great dining experience at Epcot. You have Cinderella's Royal Table at Magickingdom, which I would recommend doing this at least once, right? Anytime that you have the opportunity to go inside that castle and have a dining experience there, maybe if you go later on, you can see the fireworks. You have to kind of take that into consideration, right? Also at Magickingdom, the Be Our Guest dining experience was phenomenal when we went, but there is a more like a 2.5 hour experience. So all things to take into consideration, but that's how I would typically shape up the day when it comes to dining. So one of the questions that I get asked a ton of when I'm booking one of my clients' vacations is, what parks should they go to? You know, what's a typical length of stay at a park? So a lot of this really depends on the time of year that you're going. A lot of it depends on family size, if you've been to Walt Disney World before in the past. But typically what I would recommend to any one of my clients is that they spend one full day at each of the parks. So Magickingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood, and Epcot would all be one full day tickets, right? Now, if you've gone to Walt Disney World in the past, maybe you've come to realize that maybe Epcot's more of a half-day park for you, or Hollywood Studios is more of a half-day park for you, and you like to bounce around. At that point, I would recommend the park hopper option, right? Because then from there, starting at 2 o'clock, you could bounce around to whichever parks that you want to get to and take advantage of the rides or the restaurants at those parks, maybe later on in the day. If you are traveling to Walt Disney World during a special ticketed event, let's say at Magickingdom, then typically I would recommend that you would have 1.5 days at Magickingdom, because you get the special ticketed event to experience Magickingdom in a way that you typically would not be able to experience it. Whether it's the theming, whether it's, you know, let's say Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, you can go trick-or-treating inside the park. You have different fireworks, different character experiences, different snacks. There's a lot that goes into those special ticketed events. So I would recommend going to those and doing 1.5 days at Magickingdom, right? But at the end of the day, I think you need to look at what your family is interested in, whether it's thrill rides, whether it's restaurants, whether it's quick service options, whether it's characters, princesses, you know, the Fab Five. A lot of that depends on the parks that you would want to maximize your time in. But I would recommend on any vacation, spending at least one full day at each of the Walt Disney World parks. Well, there you have it. Those are just some of the questions that my clients ask me when booking their Walt Disney World magical vacation. I hope it was helpful. I will drop my website in the comment section below. Feel free to click on that. It will give you a ton of information about Walt Disney World, all the other Disney products that I help sell, as well as Universal in Orlando. Now, if I missed anything, put it also in the comment section below. I love to know what you guys are thinking. I love to know about things that you've experienced at each one of the parks. So make sure you put that in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, and click that bell icon to be sure that you're notified anytime I drop a new video. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you real soon.